G'day traders, welcome back to the channel. Let's get started by subscribing to the channel, hitting that like button. The sooner you hit the like button in the video, the better it is for the YouTube algorithm and it will help share the channel far and wide. So please hit that like button now for me if you can. All right, today we're going to have a look at CPI. We've got CPI coming up at 8:30 and then we're going to take a look at the charts and see what we're going to anticipate for today. Keeping in mind that any charting we do this morning will likely or can be all undone when CPI news drops. So we'll just see how we go. Okay, let's start at the calendar and have a look at CPI. So here we've got CPI this morning. Great opportunity to one shot, one kill. The highest probability news event for passing your evals. Tradeify and Apex both have sales on at the moment. So 80% off with Apex using code Jimmy and 30% off, up to 40% off using Tradeify across all their accounts, code Jimmy Trades. You still have plenty of time to grab those accounts if you get them now. Help support the channel by grabbing those accounts using code Jimmy for Apex or code Jimmy Trades for Tradeify. Much appreciated, guys. Alrighty, so let's have a look at CPI. I've got a forecast of 0.3%. Previous was 0.1%. So previously forecast was also 0.3%. If we go back to April, and it was the Thursday, April 10 CPI, we had a 0.3 forecast. We came in at 0.1. All right, so if we get something similar today, based on the chart from last month, we did have a bullish candle on the news drop with very little manipulation. So it was a good candle that would have helped pass an eval. So let's go and have a quick look at that. Moving over to NQ. We'll bring up the NQ chart here. And if we go to April 10 and we go to 8:30, let's go. We can see this is our 8:30 open just here. So we can see we did get a nice little pump. Generally, CPI will give us much more of a pump than that, or a dump, whichever way it wants to go. Not a huge move here, but this is still enough to pass your evals. So if we get a similar scenario today, if price prints a similar candle, then we can anticipate passing some evals. And I will be participating in OSOC. On the top of your screen right now, there'll be a link to Day Trading Realtor's stream. He will be streaming OSOC this morning. So be sure to head over to Adam's channel and give him some love and support over there. I will be jumping over there as well. Alrighty, let's head on to current price action. Looking at today. All right. So first thing I'm looking at is we have ranged a little bit today. I'm not surprised because we have CPI coming up very shortly. However, what I didn't expect was such a huge pump yesterday, being the day before CPI. However, thank you, Mr. Trump. tariffs once again proving to manipulate the market. At the moment, looking at current price, the low-hanging fruit for me is previous day high. That's where I'm anticipating price to run to. Okay, previous day high, and we are currently respecting the top quarter of the previous day's candle with a nice little wick to the downside at the moment. Following previous day high, then we can look to potentially up to this high here as our next draw. It's also aligned with a bearish FEG. All right, so they're my ideas for where price might want to run today. Again, CPI will either prove us right or very wrong. So we'll remain bullish for NQ today. If we drop down to the hourly, you can see that bit of a range we've put in here. Let's get rid of that. You can see that range here. And that's to be expected with CPI incoming. We're right at the equilibrium of the range. So I'd like to see a sweep low, sweep out these lows into this bullish FEG, and then push higher, or we just rip higher, whatever CPI wants to do. Let's jump over to ES. It's going to be a similar story on the daily. Respecting the top quarter, previous day range, small wick to the downside, previous day high still open, low hanging fruit. That's where I'm looking at price to run. And then moving from there, the next high is all up here. Okay, so we'll see how ES and NQ run together on this one. So bullish today for ES. Let's go over to oil now. And again on the daily here, didn't quite reach the high that we were looking for. We did have a bullish day and then a sell-off in the PM by the looks of this. Actually, I think that sell-off started in the AM. We're still closed above the Friday high. What I'll be watching for is how we respond to the equilibrium of the previous day wick. Let's drop to the hourly. Because we have had a bit of a V-shaped reversal here. So we'll be seeing how we react here at this level, where price has displaced through as well. So price has displaced through that equilibrium. So we may actually see price run up to this level before moving lower. And if we have a look at this as a dealing range, that would put us up into a premium of this dealing range. Got a breakaway gap here with an inversion on the hourly. And we've got all these lows stacked, all these swing lows stacked below us here. So there's plenty of low resistance liquidity for price to want to seek down here. We'll also put in a series of lows. Okay, we've got relative equal lows through here. Let's back out to the daily for a minute. Yeah. It's looking to me that there is potential here for price to want to run lower. I'm going to run with the bearish bias. Now, that's not to say we don't run higher first, and I'm okay with that. But I think we might run lower here. These smooth edges, low resistance liquidity through here, V-shaped reversal. There's a lot to suggest that we might run lower. Okay, let's jump over to Euro. Now these markings were left on here from yesterday, and it very much looks like we're getting potential for that move. We didn't quite get the move up to the high here, but we did get the sweep. What I don't particularly like is that we weren't able to get a closure above these bullish series of candles here. We've actually reached that level and started to roll a little bit. We don't have, do we have any liquidity? We've got these lows to run out. Gee. I'll be watching this candle actually. This candle. I would love to see this candle close bullish after sweeping out all these lows here. We've swept out all these lows through here. So if we get a bullish close on this candle, that'll potentially give us that insight to order flow that we might start to see a push from there. So let's keep an eye on that. Quite an aggressive close through the FEG here, this daily, this daily bearish, bullish FEG, respecting the bottom order of previous day's candle. Look, realistically, previous day low is the low hanging fruit. All right. We have no wick to the downside at open here on the current day. So there is a high level draw on liquidity here. So I would suggest we're going to probably continue to move lower. Back to the hourly. We'll be keeping an eye on this candle and how we react at this level. If we get a strong close through this level, then we can potentially see this sort of price action where we actually get a run back up into this bearish FEG on the day, on the hourly here. And that'll clean out some of these highs here as well. Okay. And then maybe we'll come back lower from there. Or we come up, we can't get through this level and we just fail immediately and get back down to previous day low. Certainly at the moment, previous day low is the low hanging fruit. I'm going to remain bearish for now, but I'm happy to pivot if I see this change in the state of delivery occur. Then I'm happy to pivot. Dixie, we always look at Dixie. I'm going to move these around actually because they're inversely correlated. So have them near each other. Makes sense, right? Okay. Okay, on the daily, unlike Euro, Dixie has been unable to close through this bearish FEG here. Keeping in mind that Euro is inversely correlated, so flip it upside down and Euro closed through the bullish FEG on its way down. So we did have a reaction there. Now, low hanging fruit is previous day high. CPI will show us its hand. Okay, we could just see price rip through, take out the high before moving lower again. Let's have a look at the hourly. We can see this range that we're in here at the moment. I wouldn't mind seeing price come into this bullish FEG here before moving higher. Now, I know they're inversely correlated. I'm bearish, so I should be bullish, right? Well, it's not as clear to me on Dixie where price might want to run. Yes, previous day high looks to be the draw with the low-hanging fruit. That is my ideal setup. We also still have a gap down here to fill. I'll go with a neutral bias for Dixie. Jumping over to gold. Here on the daily. It's just teasing me. Gold is teasing me. These lows are so attractive, and yet gold didn't want to take the lows. We do have the gap above us. This gap up here. How is price going to react off this equilibrium of the previous day's range? I'd like to see these lows swept, personally. Let's drop to the hourly. Do we have a change in state of delivery? Yes, we do. Pretty much look at this level here. Came up, rejected that level before displacing through. So if we were to run our fibs out, we've moved about 60% of the average daily range for gold. That's across a 21-day look back. So a nice tight sample size, especially with the volatility since tariff news started popping up. It makes sense to use a smaller sample size. So we've got the change in state of delivery. The gap, or our target area of this leg, this failure leg here, is right here. At the moment, we're still inside this bearish hourly FEG. If we throw the midpoint in, we can see we managed to close above, tested this level, and we're still holding that level at the moment. Another sweep, I wouldn't mind, under this low into this bullish FEG. And then a push higher, respecting this change in state of delivery. Going to have a bullish bias while we respect this level. If this level fails or starts to fail, then I will start to look for a different scenario. Look for these lows to be taken. And that overall series of daily lows. To now, this bullish setup is what I'm looking for. Let's jump over to GU on the daily. Okay, we did have price respecting this daily bullish FEG. I like that. We had a nice reaction out of there as well. We have no wick to the high side. High level drawn liquidity. And if we move to the hourly, see if we have a change in state of delivery. So we do have a close above, well, we actually got a close above this level here. And then we respected 50% of this down close candle. So that's okay. That shows a willingness to want to move higher. But we haven't got displacement. I would really like to see displacement. We haven't had that decisive move. It's just chopped its way higher, which has left lots of low resistance liquidity here. And we're into a bearish FEG, and we've just swept out this high. We've also had a candle closure back inside the range of the previous candle. While we respect this level, as long as that level holds, I'll remain bullish, or I will be bullish, okay? As long as this level holds. As soon as we start breaking below, and if we do that with displacement, we'll start to look for a bearish approach to GU. Let's go and head over and check out Bitcoin. Getting exactly what we were looking at. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect. So we've moved lower into this bullish FEG. It's exactly what we wanted to see. And now we can once again look to target the high. Again, CPI, we'll test this all out. So we'll see how things play out, but here's our target area. This is our all-time high. I'm looking for price to get a close above the negative 2.5. Same here. If we can get a closure above this level, this is our, I think that's our weekly. Yes, that's our weekly target. If we can get price to close above this level, then we can anticipate this -4 region to be targeted. That would see at around $116,000, $117,000 Bitcoin. Wouldn't that be nice? And then hopefully we can see all the alts run with it. Thank you for tuning in today, guys. Remember, we've got CPI at 8:30. Be sure to grab your evals from Apex and Tradeify. Code Jimmy for Apex, code Jimmy Trades for Tradeify. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. That is really, really important, and I do appreciate your support. Be sure to follow us in Trade Foundry, where we stream 4 to 5 times a week for free, completely free. And we live trade together. So we'll see you over in Trade Foundry, guys. Bye for now.